After summer break, my boyfriend came back engaged to the richest girl on the East Coast. When I confronted him, he had only one sentence of explanation. Love is poverty's poison, I'm doing this for your own good. Yet in the photo, the fiancée was clearly the scholarship girl I'd bankrolled in secret for 5 years. The backdrop of the shot was my own living room, and the parents standing beside her were my family's housekeeper and chauffeur. On Chase's birthday this year, I gave him a car. Nothing extravagant, just a few $100,000. He was still a student, anything pricier would have been a pain to insure. He posed beaming beside the gift, then blew up my WhatsApp with thank you voice notes. Move-in day, I opened Instagram and landed on his engagement post. Love a flower by spoiling it water with indulgence. The carousel showed him on one knee, trunk popped, balloons tumbling, giant bouquet. The girl blushed behind her fingers, every pore oozing bliss. I almost clapped and called it romance until I remembered the boyfriend was mine and the car was too. I cornered Chase outside the dorm. He sat behind the wheel, resignation pasted on his face. Serena, love is poverty's poison, I'm doing this for your own good. I stood on the curb and read the fresh decal on the passenger dash. Leanna's cute little throne, his tone stayed flat, almost bored. You can only swing a $30K ride. Liana is the Vance heiress. You know my mom's heart surgery is scheduled. I need hospital money yesterday. He flashed me a selfie with his future in-laws, joy leaking through every pixel. Serena, an estate like this we'd never afforded into lifetimes. Once I marry her, the bills disappear. In the picture, the girl clung to his arm, dimples deep. I zoomed in. Same living room rug, same oil painting over the mantel, my house. The smiling parents were definitely my Mrs. Housekeeper and Mr. Chauffeur. The real heir Serena was me. I actually laughed out loud. You want out, fine. Congrats to you and the Vance princess. Then someone shoved me from behind hard. I spun around, there she was, the brand new fiancée. She glared, voice syrupy with entitlement. Back off my Chase, you clout chasing thought. I can smell desperation from here. Chapter 2. She was stronger than she looked. The push nearly sent me sprawling. When I caught my balance, she jabbed a manicured finger at my nose. Look at yourself, pathetic. Stay away from my man. We're engaged. If you can spell dignity, try practicing it. And go check a mirror. You think you can poach my fiancé looking like that? I glanced down, gray loop-back hoodie, hair in a bun, zero makeup. Dad drilled into me early, never advertise money, so every label is silent. Still, the hoodie is Italian hand-loomed cashmere, $3,400 on a quiet day. She preened, fingers brushing her skirt channels, one-of-one spring piece. The house had received it in my size. I'd worn it once before it vanished. Now the missing couture was wrapped around her hips. My jade pendant dangled at her throat. The heirloom grandfather slipped around my neck the day I was born. My silence fed her confidence, her smirk sharpened. Poor little schemer. I see straight through gold diggers. Try working for a living instead of auctioning yourself off. She thrust her chest out, the dress strained, seams groaning. Chase is mine. You don't measure up. The name finally clicked. Liana, the girl whose tuition I'd paid for 5 years. I studied the face, jaw shaved, temples filled, nose sculpted, eyelids creased. The rural teenager in my file had been remade into this plastic princess. I let out a soft laugh. Sounds like a perfect match. Liana lifted her chin, obviously. I flicked a hand toward the car. If you're the Vance heiress, why let your fiancé cruise in a $30K Honda? Doesn't scream old money. She hesitated half a beat, then doubled the attitude, eyes raking me head to toe. Only bottom feeders marry for cash. I love Chase, period. Chase swallowed, visibly moved, gaze gooey with gratitude. Even I felt touched enough to applaud politely. Best wishes, truly. I turned the corner, smile wiped clean. My boyfriend of 3 years, my charity case of 5, they'd decided to gold dig their way into a crown. Too bad a hoodrat can't become a phoenix. And their parents. While employed under my roof, they'd swiped clothes, jewels, even pantry truffles to polish their fake duchess. Leeches, every last one, and none would slip off the hook. I dropped by the Greenwich estate maybe twice a year. Left alone, Leanna's mom and dad had turned it into their private department store. I scrolled through my contacts and tapped my chauffeur. Voice sugar light. Quinn, you and Mrs. Housekeeper have been model staff. The company's rolling out an employee vacation perk. You and the missus deserve a getaway. Interested? A beat of stunned quiet, then Quinn stammered, Miss Sweet, we can actually go? Everything's arranged, I soothed. Just pack, leave the rest to me. When do we leave? He asked. Let's make it this weekend. I said with a smile. My assistant will send you the full itinerary later. All right, I still have a few things to handle, so I'll let you go. The plan rolled forward like clockwork. Leanna's parents practically cartwheeled out the door, dragging her off on their little vacation. The morning after they left, the installation crew marched into the estate and screwed in dozens of Ultra HD cameras every corridor, every vent, every chandelier boss. A week later, bored, I opened the case surveillance feed. The moment the file loaded, a breathy moan slid through the speakers. In my bedroom, Chase and Liana lay naked on my sheets. Back when I first bankrolled Liana, she was still calling herself Liana. Her family prized sons over daughters. High school living expenses, a couple $100 a year tuition extra, and always out of reach. Her father gambled, racked up debts, then threatened to swan dive off a roof. My own father talked him down and offered a deal. Come work for us as mer chauffeur, bring your wife along as Mrs. Housekeeper. One day Liana rang Mrs. Housekeeper begging for tuition money. Mrs. Housekeeper screamed at her for 3 solid hours. I was home from boarding school, still groggy when the shouting woke me. I didn't lose my temper, just murmured, I don't like the name Liana, Mrs. Housekeeper. Pick her a new one. Mrs. Housekeeper, cashing my family's generous paycheck, agreed on the spot. Later I arranged anonymous tuition payments for Liana's senior year. When she got the news, she hunted down my burner WhatsApp. Big sis, thank you for helping me. I'll study hard, I swear. Mom's about to rename me. You're my lucky star, can you choose one? I thought for a long minute. Let's go with Liana. The sun may rise late, but it always rises. From then on I siphoned a slice of my monthly allowance straight into her account. Every month, 5 years straight, and tonight she's in my bed, writhing with Chase. My lingerie, my silk slip, even my panties are strewn across the rug. Zoom in and you'll see the monogram. My stomach flips. At the height of it, Liana fists Chase's hair. Who do you love more, me or your ex? Chase pants, baby, don't be dumb. You, obviously. She's cranky and sexless. Now that I've found you, I know what real love is. My breath catches, Liana twists her voice into a whimper. But I'm still mad. You dated her forever and it bugs me. I figure it's just dirty talk until Chase's next sentence ices my veins. If my girl's unhappy, I'll fix it. We drug her, shoot a little video? He grins and kisses her. You hold the clip, she'll jump when you say jump, your own personal toy. Liana giggles, climbs on top. Chase groans, then we get hitched and make her our maid. I save the entire feed. When they finish, Liana drifts to my walk-in, fingers every hanger, and pulls out a plunging navy gown. She wriggles into it, layers on my emerald suite worth 8 figures, and sails out arm in arm with Chase. Theft, trespass, grand larceny evidence complete. I zip the files to my lawyer. Beside me, Jordan pats my shoulder. Earth to Serena, come on, birthday bash is starting. I blink, follow her onto the mega yacht. Tonight a childhood friend has rented the whole boat for his party. Lines are cast, champagne popped when Chase and Liana sprint down the pier. Chase snarls into his phone, Jackson, I haven't boarded, why are we moving? Jackson lifts an eyebrow at me, cell still to his ear. I burst out laughing. While we dated, I'd ushered Chase into my circle. Everyone played nice for my sake. Chase, shallow as a puddle, decided we were merely run-of-the-mill rich kids. My friends humored him, stroked his ego, and he actually believed they cared. Now that we're over, Jackson dropped him from the guest list. Yet here he is, Liana in tow, cheeks flaming. I raise my glass, amused. Let them on. I scan the salon. Every face here met me in kindergarten and decide to give the crew a show. Tonight's Jackson's birthday, and I'm gifting you all a front row seat. Ground rule, nobody blows my cover. The air's eyes sparkle as Chase leads Liana up the gangway. Spotting me, he flinches. Jordan slid onto the sofa next to Liana and made polite chit-chat, asking what her parents did for a living. Liana answered proudly, loud enough for the whole salon to hear, You've heard of the Vance family in Greenwich, right? I'm the only daughter, Liana. I almost laughed out loud. Jordan's lips twitched as she fought her own grin. Still feeding the fairy tale, seriously? So your dad's the richest man on the East Coast? No wonder you're wearing that 8-figure emerald suite, it's gorgeous. Liana preened even harder, stroking the flawless green stones like a house cat kneading silk. Jordan and a clique of hangers-on heaped on compliments until Liana floated 3 feet off the teak floor, each flattery followed by another flute of Dom Perignon. Chase hovered near the French doors, took a call, then darted to my chair when no one was looking. His eyes were bloodshot. Serena, why did you freeze my card? The hospital just phoned, my mom's bills bounced. They said the account was closed. Serena, how can you be this cold? You'll let my mother die? I was tipsy, cheeks flushed. Aren't we broken up? You're snuggling the Vance heiress tonight, yet you still want your ex to bankroll your mom's meds? If she dies, blame the son who couldn't pay, not the ex you keep swiping from. Or is it that Miss Billionaire over there won't cough up a dime for you? Chase's jaw locked, color drained from his face. I patted his cheek, slow and loud. Using my gifts to impress little Miss Fake Heiress, rather shameless, Chase. Liana noticed the whispering and stalked toward us, fury clicking in her stilettos. I leaned close to his ear, voice feather light. What happens when the Vance princess finds out you're just a backwoods hood rat? Think she'll still want you? Chase went the color of old parchment. Why are you everywhere, you spiteful leech? Chase said you were history, have you no pride? Seeing me flushed and cozy beside him, Liana lost it. Forget it, tramps like you only learn the hard way. She yanked me up by the wrist and swung. I stared, unblinking, letting the moment stretch. Before impact, Chase shot up, catching her arm mid-arc. Liana, not here. We only talked for 2 seconds, he begged, throwing me a silent plea not to blow his cover. I sank back into the cushions. Why spoil the prologue? The headline act hadn't even started. Jordan, who'd been happily spectating, now dove center stage to play referee. Other guests circled, smoothing ruffled feathers while their eyes danced with amusement. Liana mistook the laughter for admiration. See? Everyone's sweet to me, she gloated. I bit my cheeks watching her flutter from group to group, a gilded butterfly in 5-inch heels. Jackson caught my eye, lifted his crystal flute, and glided toward her. Tonight he wore a one-of-a-kind Loro Piana deck coat, old money polish that made Chase look like an outlet mall mannequin. Liana's gaze glittered, though she still glanced back at Chase. Chase's thumbs flew over his phone, crowdfunding his mother's hospital bills, no doubt. Probably calculating the second he married Liana he'd have a $10 billion toy box. Cute little spreadsheet you've got there, too bad both of them are broke, each praying the other can catapult them into the stratosphere. Serena, 3 years is 3 years. Let me toast you, Chase murmured, appearing with 2 fresh glasses. He set them on the cocktail table, eyes glistening with rehearsed sincerity. Drink this, and I'm out of your life for good. I toyed with the stem, promise. Cross my heart, debts paid, slate clean. Across the deck Liana called his name, he turned. In that heartbeat I swapped the glasses. When he faced me again I was still hesitating. At last I sighed. Fine, Chase, one for the road. I tossed the drink back. Seconds later I pressed a hand to my temple. Oh, so dizzy. As I folded, I blinked a coded message to Jordan. No one paid attention to the slumped girl in the corner. Chase half carried me out of the salon and up the grand staircase to a starboard suite. Inside the stateroom I went convincingly limp. The moment he laid me on the duvet the room swayed for him too. 1 step, 2, his eyes rolled wide and he dropped like a sack of ice. I pushed myself up. Not bad, fast acting. I thumbed my phone, green bubble scent. Minutes later Jackson and Jordan hauled a woozy Liana in. Jackson was wheezing with laughter. You should have heard her, Serena telling strangers she's old man Vance's long-lost kid. I almost died. I tapped Liana's cheek, no response, and frowned. You didn't spike her, right? Jordan waved me off, giggling. Please, we were born holding champagne. But Miss Thing kept toasting Jackson, purring Dylan like a broken Furby. The second she dug into his family tree she tried to velcro herself to him, hilarious. Before I could answer, Liana murmured in her sleep, Dylan. Jackson bit back another laugh and cooed, right here, princess. She and Chase lay side by side on the king bed. His skin was lobster red from the drug, hers still dusted with couture bronzer, both of them floating in chemical twilight. The two of them were already groping each other, so the 3 of us slipped out. We figured half an hour had passed when the noises inside finally died down. Jordan started a TikTok live stream. She's a creator with 1 million followers. Phone in hand, she gave her fans a tour of the mega yacht, sauntering toward Liana's cabin. The door had been left a crack, it swung open at the lightest push. Still bantering with the chat, Jordan stepped inside until the lens framed 2 naked bodies. Our whole crowd ringed the foot of the bed, staring down at the tangled shapes. Jordan gasped and belted their names, Chase, Liana, you. The pair, freshly spent and groggy, needed a full beat to realize they were live. They scrambled for the comforter, but the moment was gone. 100,000 viewers had already seen the raw scene, red welts littering their skin. Liana shrieked from under the duvet, ah! Jordan fumbled to end the stream and offered an insincere, oops, sorry. Once dressed, Liana sobbed and raged through the yacht's corridors. Chase cradled her while she hiccuped tears, wailing that she could never show her face again. He shot me a livid glare. What the hell happened? I spread my hands and lifted a shoulder. You 2 lovebirds lost control, why ask me? Chase's stomach lurched. The sedative was meant for Serena's flute, how had it? But Liana wouldn't let up. Marrying into old money was her obsession. Minutes earlier she'd been gloating that she'd cracked Chase's social circle. Now the world had seen everything, no billionaire would touch her. She screeched, Chase, you have to marry me. Only hours before, Chase had been sweating over his mom's crushing hospital bills, hunting an excuse to accelerate a wedding. Opportunity had just knocked, so he stopped questioning the how. He soothed her, arms tight. Okay, baby, tomorrow we'll file the papers. Jackson flicked his watch. After the circus it was already 7 a.m. Clearing his throat, he oozed magnanimity. Jamie, sis-in-law, I feel terrible this happened. Let's head back right now. My driver will drop you at City Hall to make it official. Then I'll send a wedding gift to apologize. Their eyes sparked like slot machines. They nodded fast and began WhatsApping relatives to career IDs and birth certificates to the clerk's door. Jackson moved at warp speed. By 8:30 they were on the marble steps of City Hall. At 9 they emerged beaming, marriage license fluttering between them. Leaning against the Rolls-Royce, I greeted them. Congratulations, Liana. And congrats to you, Chase, your village finally has a married college grad. Both faces curdled. Liana? Mountain Village? I doubled over laughing, stomach aching. What, he never told you? Chase's hometown is a dirt road hamlet, 3 adobe rooms and a leaky roof. Liana's eyes flamed. Liar. How could he afford a 6-figure ride then? I tapped my own chest, grin widening. Because that ride was my gift. Chase turned the color of wet cement. Liana screeched, impossible. The dealer swore the car was reserved by some ultra-wealthy heir. I cooed, exactly ultra-wealthy little old me. Jordan and Jackson howled, nearly rolling on the pavement. Serena, here is the real Vance Heiress top-tier trust fund royalty. Liana wilted, collapsing to the curb, whispering, no, it's a trick. Chase's brain finally caught up. Real heiress? Serena's the Vance daughter? Then you. I looked at Liana. Do you like the name Liana? You wore it for 18 years. I gave you a shiny new life and bankrolled 5 years of tuition. This is my thank you? My title felt good, huh? And my boyfriend tasted nice. Lightning couldn't have stunned her more. You were my anonymous sponsor. It was you. Chase whipped his hand across her cheek, eyes bulging. You swore you were a Vance. Turns out you're just some charity case. You played me, bitch. Eager to clear the air, I chimed sweetly. He wasn't fully duped. Her parents really are both named Lee. Only difference, one's our gambler turned driver. The other's the couture pilfering housekeeper. They've just been fired and loaded with debt. I clapped once. Correction, now that you're hitched, the debt is yours too. Liana blanched. Sliding boneless to the asphalt, clutching my ankles. Sis Serena, please, I'm begging you. Let me go. I stroked her hair, voice soft as a scorpion's tail. Sorry, no pardons today. A hospital clerk rang, warning Chase that without cash his mother's meds would be stopped. Chase's knees buckled. He dropped in front of me. Serena, I was blinded by greed. I know that now. Could you front my mom's hospital bills? If they stop treatment, she'll die, please. I'm on my knees begging you, Serena. He pressed his forehead to the ground, knocking out a groveling kowtow again and again. He kept smashing his forehead against the marble until the skin split and blood ran in rivulets. I flicked my wrist, voice calm. Relax. I never said I wouldn't help. I glanced at Liana, hollow-eyed beside me, her crown heiress fantasy shattered, heart skewered on the shards. I crouched, locking eyes with Chase. One chance. I don't like Liana borrowing my life. Make me happy and I'll cover your mom's hospital bills. Chase's mind raced. He knew I never bluffed. In a heartbeat he decided, stood, and walked straight for Liana. Tears streamed down her face as she shook her head violently. No, don't. Chase's fist slammed into her cheek, dropping her to the floor. He put every ounce of rage behind it. Blood spurted from her nose instantly. He grabbed her hair, cracking her head against the tiles again and again. Bitch, you lied to me, bitch. 10 minutes later, Liana's face was pulp, her nose implant skewed grotesquely. Cops poured in, cuffed the rampaging Chase, and hauled Liana away. Inside the station, I stood demurely beside counsel. Officer, I'd like to press charges. These two, Chase and Liana, broke into my home and stole my jewelry. My lawyer slid a flash drive across the desk. 4K surveillance feed, time-stamped and crystal clear. Attached was an appraisal. My missing pieces totaled just over $100 million. The officer hesitated. With an amount this large, if you insist on prosecuting, the defendants could face serious prison time. I smiled. Perfect. On trial day, Liana's parents heard the word restitution and vanished overnight. Chase's mother lay half dead in ICU. No one came for him. So the defense table held only Liana and Chase. No attorney, no family, no hope. Chase looked haggard, eyes pleading. Serena, 3 years together. Do we really end like this? I still love you. Give me one more chance and I'll spend my life making it up to you. My mind flashed to the night we met. Sophomore year, bar hopping with friends. A creep cornered me outside the restroom. Chase, cocktail tray in hand, stepped between us and walked me back to my table. His profile in the neon glow, my heart stumbled. For 3 years I paid his tuition, his rent. I truly loved him. Then Jackson handed me a dossier. The creep had been on Chase's payroll all along. His trademark move, stage a rescue, reel in a rich girl. 3 years of us had been nothing but casting. I shook my head. Wake up, Chase. Go rot in prison. His lips trembled, terror flooding his face. In court they turned on each other like starving dogs. Liana claimed Chase drugged her, took her body, tricked her into marriage. Chase shot back that she masterminded the burglary. Lying to save herself, they screamed accusations for an hour. The gavel fell. Chase 3 years for assault and aiding burglary. Liana 10 years as ringleader of $1 million theft. She fainted at the word 10. Chase's knees buckled, he nearly wet himself before guards dragged him out. I stepped into sunlight, lungs filling with free air. 3 years later, gossip reached me. Chase walked free. His mother had died on the operating table. He hadn't made it in time. Expelled, diploma-less, he couldn't land a job. He retreated to the family plot, but his back couldn't handle a hoe. The crops withered. Bent and broken, he looked 20 years older when Liana finally emerged. Drought had turned Chase's fields to dust. His hair went white overnight. He found her somehow 12 knife thrusts, repeating like a broken record, "It's your fault, all your fault, I'd be the heir's husband, ha. Your fault." Liana's blood painted the floor. She died before the sirens wailed. Chase hurled himself off the roof, bursting on impact. The news left me speechless. Jordan nudged me. Earth to Serena, boardrooms waiting. I snapped back, nodded. I walked on stage into the next chapter of my life, the end. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the story, hit like, share with friends, and drop your thoughts below. Subscribe for more. See you next time.